So why are breakers destroying the hobby? 2 weeks ago, we did a video that was on why people were, or why collectors are leaving the hobby. And there was a lot of comments from this video, 600 comments. From all those comments that we have read, a lot of you said the breakers, breakers this, breakers that, breakers this. So I wanted to make a video to go over that. And here we go. So some topics that's going to include in this video are rising of breaks. How has breaking over the last 4 years increased in the what's happening online and things like that. The culture change, what's changing, what's happening, and also how it's affecting local card shops. So stick around for this video. I think it's going to be a good one. And it's not to kind of, yell at the breakers or like say they're bad people. It's just what's happening in the span of, the last 4 years, how the hobby is changing. Sometimes it could be for the good. Sometimes it could be for the bad, and we'll get into that. If you're a breaker, make sure you stay tuned for the end of this video because I have some things to say just about, you guys in general as well. But this is about just what's happening in the hobby. And the first thing that I wrote down was the rise of cards, or the rise of card breaking and its impact, like its impact in the hobby. What is card breaking? So if you don't know what card breaking is, stay tuned. And I'll kind of explain it really, really fast for you, so I'm not making this video like 45 years long. But also, if you know what card breaking is, you can skip ahead a little bit and just get to the next section, right? But this is card breaking, and like, what is card breaking? Card breaking is like collectors like you and I going on YouTube, going on Twitch, going on whatnot, going on TikTok, and trying to purchase a spot, usually online, and trying to purchase a spot to receive cards from a box, from a case, usually from a hobby box, and watching somebody open it live. It really not took its toll, but it really came to importance over the pandemic when nobody can go anywhere. So people were going online, watch people open up boxes, paying money for this break or this break and this break, and then going on from there. Okay, a lot of it's hobby boxes, but it really increased during the pandemic. The commercialization of the hobby really changed as well because more now it's a business model. What I mean by that is sometimes it's the business model is prioritized over enjoyment, and you might have profit, prioritize more about it than enjoyment, and it's kind of taking it out of the context when we're looking at the collecting hobby and how we should be collecting and saving cards and giving down to our kids, like I've been talking about over the last 30 videos I did, I feel like, and over again. But how this is changing a little bit. Breakers sell their breaks for a premium price. If I'm breaking like a $2,000 or a $3,000 hobby box, I might be selling spots for like $100, $120 from that box. It's good that you can get in there and then, not to pay $3,000 for a hobby box, but it's also driving the price up. And then when you're driving the price up, that leads to increased costs. And when you have increased costs, now you're separating the distance between regular collectors and then breaks and things like that. So next thing I wrote down is, breaking. We know about breaking now. Card prices and market inflation. And how is that affecting the hobby? A lot of times you're going to have hype products. Like, for instance, right now, the Topps Chrome, like update series, right? Everyone's looking for the Topps Chrome update series because they want to get that Paul Skeens 101. They want to get that Jackson Holiday 101. And hype products means you get overpriced breaks. So if I'm breaking a hobby box of the Topps update or a Topps Chrome update, I may be selling spots for $500. I don't even know. I haven't really watched many of those, right? But you might be selling spots for a lot of money. And when you have spots for a lot of money, you're trying to get in at a premium, and it's going to increase the cost. And when it increases the cost, you're shelling out a lot of money for these things, and you might not get anything back in return. It's impacting casual collectors because budget conscientious collectors, they struggle. And when they struggle, it's because of inflated prices. When you have inflated prices, it's getting people out of their range of where they're going to spend. Some people in our comments don't even want to spend $40 for a blaster box. So who's going to go out there and spend $3,000 for a hobby box? So you have breakers doing that and then selling their spots, and maybe you can pay $100 out of that $300 or $3,000 and then get a big hit. But the problem is next part of what my I guess my writing is going to say is the lack of personal collection and meaning. When you have a diminished joy of collecting, you're diminishing the art of collecting. And when you're diminishing the art of collecting, your personal collections are gone, right? You're okay, I'm getting the thing from here, getting the thing from there. You're not opening them yourself, right? And you're always going after the big hits, which means it's fine to go after the big hit. I'm not saying if you're the person that goes after the big hit, tries to get that stuff and then resell it. Yeah, it's up to you. You gotta feed your family. You got money any way you can. I understand that. But just talking generally about the hobby, that's not really great for the hobby, because now everyone's going after that big hit instead of just collecting their favorite players or their favorite teams and so on and so forth. And instead of having like a slow, long-term collection, now we're like fast, 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 fast. And that's how it is nowadays. But we have a lot of collectors that watch these videos that are 50, 60, 70 years old, 40 years old. And, they like the long-term process of, oh, I got this Bo Jackson when I was a kid, or I got this Michael Jordan when I was a kid. I know exactly where I opened it up from. And now I still have it. I'm giving it down to my kids and so on and so forth. So it's different. It's a different scenario. And it curates like a culture shift. Just like you have iPhones now, and instead of having, we used to drive around when we were kids and had no phones, and our parents didn't know where we were for half of the day. And now you have, like, you can understand where you can find where everybody's at all times. So it's a culture shift, sometimes for the good, but sometimes not for the good, at least for some of the hobbies. So there's a lot of instant gratification, meaning like there's long-term collecting, like versus long-term collecting. So how is that happening? So you have, breaking is like creating this instant gratification and going after that big hit, going again, or big hit, or saying like big hit or bust. That's not really the greatest thing to do, because you're going after more about, you're more going about, I guess, money and funds more than just like the passion of the hobby. So it's tough. Not to say that people that are breaking and things like don't have passion. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying like the passion, the long-term passion is not really there anymore, because you're going after that big hit, big hit, big hit, big hit. So it's a little bit different. But I think that this will be the decline of like traditional shops and local card shops. Now, hear my drift, right? Maybe you don't. Maybe you can decide. Maybe you're with me. Maybe you're not with me. That's not really the biggest deal, right? Just, if you're watching this video still after 8 minutes, right? Comment what you think, right? And I love like going back and forth with you guys and seeing what you think, and then you seeing with what I think, and so on and so forth. That's the whole purpose here, right? Not to jump on anybody or anything like that. I'm just trying to kind of, show you where I think the hobby is going to lead. And the traditional shops and the local card shops, it has a big impact on that now. And why is that? Because, there's a lot of money, and a lot of money is now shifting away from this. Local card shops have been the backbone of card hobbying for 50 years now, right? 40 years. I mean, since I was we used to go to local card shops, and that was like the 80s and 90s. And I'm sure prior to that, if you're older than me, you can chime in and let us know. But, that's been the backbone of collecting for 50 years now. And you take those funds away of hobby boxes or whatever, and, it's hard to compete with online. I mean, we used to go to a ski shop all the time, where I used to live, and it's been closed down now for about, I guess it's been about 10 years now, just because they couldn't compete with online prices. And it's a shame, because we love going to the ski shop, going there, picking out skis, looking at all the stuff, looking at all the new skis, talking with the owner. It was a great thing to do. And now it's just, now it's business, going online and finding it. So it's the camaraderie, the community, it's just hard to compete with online, especially when you have a lot of breakers taking the money away from the card shops. It's tough. But instant gratification, long-term collecting, it's tough, right? But traditional shops, local card shops, like I said before, you have loss of community, which that means like, the local card shops, they foster like a face-to-face like community atmosphere. And when that's happening, like online it gives you that, because you're talking, like, even for us, we talk back and forth in the comments, but it doesn't give you that one-on-one, right? It doesn't give you that one-on-one like you go to like a local card shop. or like you go to like a show and things like that, and you can talk back and forth and talk back and forth to the people that are selling you stuff, and just talk about like, where'd you get that car? Where'd you get that? Right? It's little things like that. They're a little bit different, and like the breakers, and when you're breaking it online from somebody in California and you live in like Vermont, it's out of touch a little bit. I think that's just me being like us old fashioned, but also you have to look out for scammers. As in anything you do in the world, there's always scammers. There's always trying to steal your money somehow, right? But now breakers, I'm saying 99% of them are legitimate, okay? But there are some scammers out there you have to look out for if you are going to decide to go into breaking. And say you give them all this money and then you get nothing in return. That's a tough thing to do. At least when you're going to a store, you get the blaster box. You know if you get something good or not because you're opening up yourself, right? But through the internet, through online platforms, sometimes you do have some backing of like Whatnot and stuff like that. They will back you, but sometimes they don't. There's a thing called shill bidding. I don't know if you do that. Honestly, I didn't really know it before, so I started making this video, right? But shill bidding is like people that are like, they have breaks and then they're going in there and they're bidding on the thing to make their own break higher in price or more valuable or more, I guess you can say, raising the prices and things like that, right? And that's shill bidding. Some people do that and they shill bid up a lot, right? Even on eBay, they go in a different account and they go up and they bid up their actual things a lot, and that's obviously it's illegal. Rigging brakes. I'm not sure how they've rigged brakes, but I was looking at this and I was talking about some on my Facebook group and Discord. But some people do rig brakes on like different packs. They know what packs are good, they know what packs are bad, and they give them to people that they don't really know, and the people that they do know, a little bit different. So you have to watch out for that. You have to look at like their ratings and things like that to make sure that they're being given everybody a fair share. Not delivering cards as promised. I mean, everything. You go on eBay or things like that. Sometimes you might get a card that's not delivered, it's not as promised, or on Amazon or something. You know what I'm saying? And you do have backing too, but you have to watch out for that stuff because there are scammers out there, unfortunately, that want to steal your money for nothing. So it's unfortunate, but that's dishonest breakers that do that. But again, 99% of them are not dishonest. So okay. The next thing I said was fraudulent practices. And that just means that after they alter the condition after the fact of your card. There comes my wife again, right? The kids are here, right? And they alter the condition of the card, meaning like they inflate the price of the break, or they might say, oh, this card looks great, and then all of a sudden you get it, and it's like all bent up, and the corners are all bent up and things like that. And they might just like take things, take the cards and may look at them differently as you see them when you're breaking them, and then you might get them in like totally different. So you have to watch out for these things. I'm not saying anybody does that. A lot of people do that, but I have seen some things, and when I was looking at breaks, some things are fraudulent. So you have to be very careful on who you're breaking from or who you're getting into. So it's just like anything, there are scammers, but there could be some things that could happen with that. There are some other things I want to talk about, meaning like overemphasis on investments. And that just means like turning, a lot of these times these breakers are turning collecting into like almost like a stock market where like things go up, things go down, you're betting on things and bidding on things. And like you might have great stocks you're trying to get in and you get in for a certain price, and you have great breaks you're trying to get in and you get in for a certain price, and it's shifting the hobby like from a hobby to like more of an investment. I guess that's okay. But me, I'm just here to collect and to collect with my kids, open up boxes with my kids. If I find something great, I'm not really going to sell anything really too crazy. I sell a couple things here and there, but nothing too crazy. It's just, I like the hobby. I know most of you do too. And just like, sharing the hobby with other people, but, turning into an investment and trying to get the big hits and trying to look at the big hits, it's tough. So, I also wrote down like pressure on breakers to like deliver, and, delivering these pressures, like breakers, if you want people to join your break and if you want people to, get into your break and get it more popular, you might have a lot of pressure on you to find that big hit. if I, my luck, I would be doing the break, right? And then I get like 10 hobby boxes and there's nothing in all 10 of them, right? And this guy stinks, right? I'm never going back to him again. So the same thing can happen. So there's a lot of pressure on breakers to get these good things and to have people win good things or break good things, because then I'll make more people come back and do it again. So there's a lot of pressure on them. And this seems to, you know, make the market more like a profit design than just like breaking it for, I want to get a pack and I got a pretty cool pack and I got an autograph. I'm going to keep it, right. It's just a little bit different how all these things are happening. And, it's a lot of pressure on the breakers as well. But then it puts pressure on the consumer, us, retail, and trying to find things at retail, trying to find things there, and it's driving up the price. And it's just, it's kind of spiraling out of control, honestly. So the next thing is influencers or influence on social media and the influencers. Breakers, believe it or not, are getting so many followers now that they're influencers. And when they're influenced, they have a large following that, they can push the idea more of like an investment rather than collecting it. And a lot of people do this. It's not like on purpose. It's just more like using these different things, right? And trying to go towards investments, like I said before, but also trying to get towards like away from nostalgia and things like that. So it's a very hard, difficult thing to do. And a lot of these breakers do publicity stunts, and they promote their overhyping of their breaker or their box or whatever they're doing, and that just makes the price inflate. And when that makes the price inflate, that gives you crazy speculation for the market, just like anything, right? When I was a kid, there was like the Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior dolls. Everybody tried to want to get, and like if you can find it, it's like $100 where they're usually like $20, right? Like even with now the Topps Chrome the update. They're $49. Now they're $123 or $130 for a mega box when they were $49 on Walmart.com. So I mean, everything's overhyped. And when you overhype things, not even maybe when breakers do this on publicity stunts, sometimes they do it not even on purpose. They just do it and then they overhype their product, and now it's getting crazy, right? And another thing I want to add in there, a lot of breakers, they've been saying in our Facebook group, and things are shifting away from retail now, where a lot of people aren't finding things in retail, and a lot of people are doing the breakers, and the card companies are giving the breakers a lot of good stuff, because then that gives them good promotion. They go, oh yeah, I'm watching this break, and there was like an Ellie De La Cruz rookie, and there was like an auto for this person and then this person, and then now they're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna get it myself. That the consumer's saying. So that's promoting the Topps and the Bowmans and the Selects and all that stuff, and making it more of like a price thing, and then driving the price up, which is just crazy. But really, I wanted to kind of talk about this stuff. Now, if you're a breaker watching this, that's great. I more power to you. If you want to do a break and this is your thing you want to do, that is more power to you, right? I'm not saying that you're a bad person or anything like that. I'm just saying, how is that affecting the card market, and how is that affecting the overall hobby? It's affecting it a little bit, right? But if you're hopefully still watching this video after 18 minutes or 17 minutes, I want you to reflect on the way you are like, why are you watching this? Are you watching this for community? Are you watching this like for, I guess, financial gain? The thrill of like opening boxes, the thrill of like discovery? Are you watching like that? Like, think about this stuff as you're like interacting with everybody else on the comments and things like that. Yeah, because people might be breakers on the comments and people might be old collectors on the comments, and there's like two sides of the coin, right? And at the end of the day, the breakers, they do play an important role in the hobby, a very important role in the hobby. They help like make sports cards, more accessible for many people, and they brought a lot of excitement and a lot of energy, right, to the entire hobby, where there maybe wasn't a lot of excitement and energy, in the hobby by itself, right? But you can get on the action. I mean, like I said before, you can get on the action without spending thousands of dollars on a hobby box, which is great. That's fine. You can go, I want to spend $100, and then get into the break where I can never afford a $3,000 hobby box, right? But again, hobby boxes were never $3,000 in the first place, but still it gives you a source of a way if you wanted to get in there and do that, right? But there are some serious concerns, right? Even though they're $1,000 for hobby box, right? But there are some serious concerns that, I'm trying to read my stuff and it's kind of getting dark and just like my points here, right? But there are serious concerns for the hobby, from like inflated prices to the shifting focuses and how things change over time. And as collectors, we need to be aware, right, of these things. And we need to also be like aware of how the hobby can grow as well. And we want it to grow as well. And right. And breakers are a part of the hobby, believe it or not. And they are helping the hobby grow. We just got to find that happy medium there where we can kind of exist together and help each other out, because we are in the same hobby, and I believe everybody loves the hobby. It's just the way it's now, it's kind of, like two sides almost to the coin, right? But it's good to be passionate. It's good to be enthusiastic about the hobby and also about these different things, right? But we want to hear your thoughts in the comments, right? And we want to talk to you guys about all this entire thing and how maybe it has changed the hobby, how it maybe has not changed the hobby. Maybe if you're a breaker and how did you get into breaking, or if you're an old collector or a new collector, why did you get in? And just talk. And that's the whole important part about our comments, is it's an open air atmosphere where you can talk to anybody, right? You may agree with this video. You may not agree with this video. It's up, doesn't really matter to me, right? I just want to kind of bring it out there to you guys so you can understand what's happening, and also help you guys out into understanding how the hobby is actually changing over the last 3 or 4 years since like COVID and the pandemic, because of all these different things happening. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. We really appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you guys later.